It's 4th of July. It's Saturday here in New York City around 1:15 in the morning. Not a usual time for me to go live. I'm usually sleeping at this time, but I'm up. I'm up all night. So so I figured I'd go live. I was going to do this video sometime over the weekend, but I figured tomorrow is going to be kind of busy. I wanted to bring it live to you tonight. This in no way is going to be a full video on inside the Chaz zone in Seattle, Washington, but this is going to be a partial one. I have a special guest who's going to join me probably Sunday. His name is Sean Reynolds. He runs a YouTube channel over in Washington in that Seattle region. He has live footage who he generously allowed me to play some of his YouTube live videos. So I'm going to play a couple of small clips for you here tonight from Sean's YouTube channel. Again, my name is DutyRon, retired New York City Police Detective, 20 plus years in law enforcement. Please hit the subscribe button, hit that notification bell, so you will get all things DutyRon when I do go live or upload videos. Thank you so much to all my channel members, my Patreon supporters, and everyone who is here that moderates on the channel. I greatly, greatly appreciate that. Hello to the Galera. Thank you so much for being in here. Guys, the Galera has a YouTube channel of his own. Go and check that out. Hello to the G-Spot, Meg Lowe channel member, Katie F. Great to see you guys. Thank you so much. Francisco NYPD in the house. Good to see you. Thank you for joining. Juju Positive. Great to see you. Yes, I'm up. I'm up late. Joey Brooklyn, Nabul. Oui, monsieur. Hello, Cheryl. Cheryl Flowers in the building. Great to see you, man. Awesome. Cheryl, always a positive person and always good to see you. Thank you, Polly's Cookies. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. So this is going to be an inside look through the live streaming of a good friend of mine over in the Seattle area. I come to know him just recently, but what a great guy! We have a lot of things in common. We're around the same age. We have two sons the same exact age, and we come from the same era. So he's a good guy, and he just told me, hey, DutyRon, use whatever you want to use. And I thank you, Sean. I thank you for that. Thank you for becoming a channel member. Great. I do greatly appreciate that. And guys, if you're not subscribed, again, consider subscribing, and also follow me on all things social media. One word, DutyRon, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, and all social media. One word, DutyRon. Appreciate you guys doing that. Hello, Dookie. Late Night Dookie is in the building. Yeah, so let me just put out a really quick disclaimer here. The U Police sign, courtesy of Matt Sully. Thank you, Maddie, and your daughter for making this U Police sign. I got the lights down low. Everybody's asleep in my house. So I got the lights down low, and I'm trying to keep it as quiet as possible. But the disclaimer that I want to say is that some of the content that I'm going to show here tonight, if you suffer from PTSD or anything that, any type of anxiety, if you will, what I'm going to show you is some graphic footage. This is going to be some live inside look inside this Chaz zone, which incidentally the Seattle Police Department took back recently, and they're having a bit of work. These protesters slash Antifa slash Black Lives Matter folks that are troublemakers at nighttime. They're really having a real difficult time because they're trying to get back in there. They're trying to get back in. Sorry to wake you, Dookie. Sorry about the backache on there, Cheryl. I hope you're feeling better. Hello, Polly. Hello, Pam. Good to see you, Pam. Thanks for joining. Cruise Boston. Happy 4th of July. Yes, happy Independence Day to everybody. All right, so let me get the disclaimer out of there. The disclaimer is that the content that I'm going to show you depicts some graphic stuff, and if you're a little sensitive to it, I would ask you to please step off, maybe come back when we're done showing some of the graphics here. So some of this stuff's going to have, language, violence, gunshots, all of the above. I am aware of the chop by City Hall, but that's a contained area. This was 6 city blocks. They didn't have it contained. These people just basically put couches. You're going to see, I'm going to show you this. These people put couches out like it was their living room in the middle of Seattle, and it was 6 city blocks, and including a huge turf baseball field and a park. So it's ridiculous what they did. Honestly, what the mayor and the governor let them do was beyond ridiculous. Hello, Froggy. Good to see you, Frog. Push Eye on Weather. Cruise Boston, always pleasure to have you in here. Thank you to the moderators. Joey Brooklyn, I'm going to have to call him to get him on. Hello, Crystal. Crystal Harmony, great to see you. Thank you so much. Yeah, turn the headphones down. Turn our headphones down. There's going to be some interesting stuff on here. This is going to be a chock full of interesting stuff. Crystal, great to see you. I know you're from that Seattle area. So this is going to be Seattle Police Department footage, and it has a warning up, graphic footage. Content includes graphic language and violence. So let's get right into it, guys. Let me set it up for you, and we're going to rock and roll. Here we go. Again, this is footage from inside CHOP, and it depicts some of the violent situations that have gone on inside the zone. This is police department video, and video supplied to the police department. So again, before I hit the play, just be advised, it is not for the faint-hearted. So again, the disclaimer here is this is graphic footage, and we're going to let it go. Good morning, Katrina. Good to see you. Yes, no jagaloons. We're going to show you some jagaloons, but there's no jagaloons here. All right, here we go. This is peaceful protesters fighting amongst themselves.
Somebody's saying, can I walk to Pine and 13th? Yeah, I can walk up there. I do see some, oh, shit. More shots fired. I'm running away. This has got to be the end of CHOP, in my opinion, this second shooting. I think it's pretty much over after this. This is kind of a nightmare.
That's gunfire, by the way. I counted 23 shots in this. There's 23 shots that go off here. This is the 2 young kids that are killed. You'll see the car right up here, up the street, right here where my cursor is. I don't know if you can see it. 22 or 23 shots. All right, this is the one. We'll count them now. 1. 5. So these are the nuts that are inside, that were inside the CHOP Chaz zone at night. There's a guy walking with an AR-15.
I'm good.
a.m. Washington time.
Are there any wounded?
Yeah, we do have that. Just.
Where are they?
Yep. Yeah.
I'm sorry, I ran out of bullets. Yeah, I was like, I know that dude. That nigga.
I'm gonna pause this. I want you to hear what one of these people with a weapon inside here, supposedly their security patrol, which is a bunch of hogwash in itself. But I want you to hear what this guy says. He says, in a joking way, he said, "I ran out of bullets." In other words, if he had more bullets, he would have fired more. So listen up right here when they come up onto the car. Listen to what this guy says. I won't speak. I'm going to pause the mic.
I'm sorry, I ran out of bullets. Yeah, I was like, I know that dude. That nigga.
Where's the driver of this? Oh.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, I was like, I know that dude. That nigga. I'm sorry, I ran out of bullets. Yeah, I was like, I know that dude. That nigga.
Where's the driver of this? Oh my God.
This is the car that those 14-year-old and 16-year-old shot up in. And that was the 20-something shots that I counted off that was fired into this car. More guys with rifles walking around. All right, the next video is going to be of the SWAT team taking back the precinct. Hold on a second. Set this up.
And it's for a kid that killed my daughter.
This isn't it. Let me get off of this. This is what we just saw. All right, let me, jagaloons to the 10th degree. I mean, this is just, this is not what's supposed to go on in America. And shame on the governor of Washington State. Shame on the mayor. She should step down. These are people who do not know how to keep the public safe. And police commissioner her hands were tied, so I can't even blame her. But I got to tell you, this is disturbing at the very least, very disturbing that you would have something like this going on in a big city like Seattle. It's just mind-boggling that this would be allowed to go on. I'm just trying to make that smaller. Move that over. Okay, that was a little too big. Let me set up this next clip for you guys. And this next one is, all right, yeah, this is what I wanted to show you. This is when they took back Chop, and they took, this is a small clip, but this is how they took back, and the mayor and the
yeah, we're right in the thick of it right now, guys. This is 12th and
put them all at risk. They put all the police officers at risk because they let these people for 29 or 20-something days stay within that zone with no policing. So, when the police went in there to clear it out, they were like, "This is our home. This is, I'm not saying it was right, but if you leave somebody long enough, for that long, they gave some resistance." Now, there's reports that the state of Washington and the city of Seattle paid these people off to leave. I don't know if that's true or not, but I heard from a pretty good source that these people were paid to peacefully leave. Now, if that's true, that's disgusting in itself right there. Like, that freaked me out. Like, I heard that they were paid a ridiculous amount of money to peacefully step off. I don't know, man. I hope that's not true. All right, here we go. This is the police taking back the streets.
We are right across the street from the East Precinct, right on the corner. This is the core of this Chaz zone. Police are pushing right now. You can see, a large contingent of bike officers, folks in gear here. They have just pushed in. They've taken half of this intersection, and you can see where those tents are. Pushed into those tents. They are going through them, clearing people out. You can hear those chants, move back. I have seen pepper spray deployed already this morning. We just watched that happen right there under the stoplight. And yeah, they...
Pike and 12, okay? 3 stays there. You're going around.
Yeah.
Guys, get out of here.
You want us to go that way or you want us to go this way? Okay. This way?
This way.
Yes, sir.
Go.
SPD is clearing us out. We are moving ahead right now here on 12th. We're going to keep walking here. I've got your back, Mark. But police are making a push right here to get through the chop zone. It is happening right before our eyes here. Like I said a minute ago, pepper spray deployed just a few minutes ago against a couple of those protesters that were not leaving. This is the push from Seattle police to reclaim CHOP from these protesters. You can see they're shining some bright spotlights from a truck back there, a SWAT vehicle. And again, this is the core of this occupied zone during here. The East Precinct right here on our left. Mark, if you can look left and take a look at the East Precinct there, that people have been occupying the space in front of here for the last few weeks. Police are pushing in. We don't know a lot of details of what will happen once they push people out, but we have been told, as you heard, police are telling us to clear out as well, to head south here on 12th. And we are just watching as this develops here. You can, of course, see the barriers that were put up in an effort to partially reopen the street here. Those are the big concrete barriers covered in art there. This is the push. We're going to keep walking too, because we don't want to get caught up in this. There are some protesters that are refusing to leave, as you can see. There was kind of a frantic moment where we were watching as the protesters kind of tried to fortify those tents that you can see, the blue and the red one a little bit on the left there. And then the police kind of popped through from the back and pushed through. And that is where I saw pepper spray deployed just a couple of minutes ago. You know, I would say we're probably looking at, just on this edge here, a dozen, maybe 2 dozen protesters. Mark, walk with me, okay? Let's go, Mark. Take a couple steps with me here.
Michael, if you can hear me, you have been down in this situation quite a number of times in recent weeks. What can you tell us about the number of police now compared to the number of protesters?
A factor of 10 more police than protesters here. I mean, I'm looking at max 2 dozen protesters visible to me right now, and that's at least 200 police officers, I would say, pushing them along here. I mean, it is a significant number more than we have seen in terms of ratios. What it does strike me is it's not like those nights that we saw before police abandoned the East Precinct, where there were, hundreds and hundreds of people in a line against the line of officers.
Right, and Michael, what you can't see right now, but you folks at home can see now, a split box here in the upper right-hand corner. Another view closer to the Seattle Police East Precinct, where even more officers who are not confronting protesters are ready to move in when needed. And as you can hear here in Michael's audio there is definitely a loud presence by protesters pushing back against police, and this is to be expected. Anytime a police officer would just walk through the CHOP area, they would be heckled and taunted from all directions. But as Michael just mentioned, by a factor of 10-fold this morning, police have protesters outnumbered. And as they move through here, they're also, from what I'm seeing in Michael's shot, removing tents and removing those barriers as they move forward, clear a space, move forward. This, of course, all orchestrated by police well ahead of time here. The goal, no doubt, is to take back the Seattle Police East Precinct. And right in the background there, you see the Chief Best up there in the
Welcome
right-hand
in
corner
Boxing
of your screen.
MMA. Thanks for joining.
Also
You're watching footage from the takeover. Police taking back the CHOP Chaz zone.
That's the Seattle Police East Precinct. It's a huge building right there, dead center of the CHOP. And you can see police on basically all sides of that East Precinct now, fortifying, working their way back to try to reclaim the East Precinct. It has not been an easy move because protesters have been so far outnumbering police taking a very sort of backseat stance to letting the CHOP play out in recent days. And as we mentioned a few moments ago, it was June the 8th when the CHOP was basically created. They called it the Chaz at the time, and that was when Seattle police essentially abandoned that East Precinct, essentially determining it was not worth their time to continue.
You know, I had such a problem with the Seattle police abandoning their own precinct. Like, for me, that was terrible. The police commissioner said she didn't want to do it. Katrina, thank you for that super chat. Love and respect. Thank you for all that you do for us and the community. Much love to you, DutyRon. Thank you, Katrina. Love and respect right back to you. Thank you for that generous super chat. I appreciate it. Yeah, so I had a real big problem with abandoning a police precinct. You know, you never retreat. And when you retreat like that, it shows weakness. And, you know, I know my constituents here, my NYPD brethren, would never do that. That we would not do that. And it's very easy to kind of walk into any of the 75 precincts throughout the 5 boroughs. Some of them are in very remote areas. Some of them are in very, you know, in the middle of New York City. There's precincts where you could just, you know, it's right up on the sidewalk. You can go right in. There's no barrier there. But we wouldn't give it up like that. You know, we would call in the troops. We would have, you know, again, the Seattle Police Department, I think, is only 1,300 members. NYPD is 30+ thousand personnel. So it's a little easier for us to defend our property. But I could tell you this, we wouldn't give that up that easy, no matter what Mayor de Blasio said. He's a weak Democratic mayor as well, but there's no way that the NYPD would give up one of their police stations to jagaloons like this. These guys are anarchists. This is not about George Floyd. This is not about police reform. This is about an opportunity for these vagrants. These are people who doesn't even look like they have a residence to live in. These are street people. And I'm not saying that to be mean. I'm saying it because it's the truth. These are thugs that are there for one reason and one reason only: to deface property, to ruin neighborhoods. I'm going to show you the graffiti and the tens of millions of dollars worth of damage that these fucking idiots have done. And it's just, you know, it's not just here in Seattle. It's all over. Listen, they defaced one of our buildings here in New York City. It was the first black mayor in the history of New York City, Mayor Dinkins. The building was named after Mayor Dinkins. And they defaced it. They freaking graffitied it up, and just ridiculous.
Continue pushing, Michelle, the protesters out, but rather just let things develop
Juju
on their
positive.
own. But here
Thank
we
you for
are, Michelle,
becoming a
again,
channel
3
member.
weeks later, police
Thank you,
trying to
Juju.
take it back.
It was just over 3 weeks ago, protesters were pushing the police line back, taking over the blocks around the East Precinct. Well, early this morning, it was the police pushing protesters out of the area, better known as the CHOP. Not everybody left peacefully, and police arrested more than 36 people. Sky King is now flying over Capitol Hill, where you can see a massive cleanup operation has been underway. Tents, trash, barricades, plywood being moved out as some protesters remain on the outskirts of those closed streets.
And just as the sun was coming up, police moved into that protest area by order of the mayor, and many protesters still sleeping were told to get out.
You have 5 minutes to disperse.
I want want you guys to picture your daughter's faces on
Did you hear
mine
that
right
scream?
now.
Police arrested those who refused to leave, other protesters leaving on their own. Some neighbors say they have been waiting weeks to get their streets back.
I only really sit there and say that our message has been diluted because of the violence that has occurred and different insiders coming in trying to push their own message and their own agenda. But as I continue to say that, we must continue to stand on one accord with each other in love and unity.
Once the protesters were gone, the cleanup.
I would ask that person that said love and unity, does love and unity include 20 gunshots going off at a time, rifles being fired at a car, 2 homicides, rape, burglary, robbery, defacing property, public urination, public defecation, intoxication in public, drug use in public? Does that fall within the narrative of Black Lives Matter and protests for police injustice? George Floyd, do you think his family and he would want anything like that? Hell no. This has ruined businesses who already were in dire straits because of the COVID-19 pandemic. Everybody forgets that we were in the middle of a COVID pandemic, right? And businesses were struggling to begin with. Now you have graffiti all over them. You have people sleeping and going to the bathroom in the middle of the street in front of their businesses. What a mess to clean up. Tens of millions of dollars worth of property damage. People leaving the city of Seattle in droves. Nobody wants to be there. This is disgraceful. I agree, Juju Positive. I agree. They're taking advantage of an opportunity. So here's the SWAT team moving in.
Chief Carmen Best and officers went back into the East Precinct, and this is the first time they have been inside there since
this is a look
the 8th.
inside the precinct.
No word on when officers will be back to work there, but they were excited to get back inside the building.
Well, this ends 3 weeks of protesters controlling several blocks up on Capitol Hill. This is how we got here today. It all started June 8th amid the protests following the death of George Floyd. The protesters wanted to call attention to racial injustice, police brutality, and calling for police to be defunded now. The city tried to move the barriers out last week, but they were stopped by a lot of protesters there. Some of those barriers were then moved yesterday, but the protesters made their own barriers. Let's say dramatically unusual tonight compared to what we have seen in the past 3 weeks.
Yeah, in fact, right now, the only people allowed inside the boundaries of what's become known as the CHOP are residents, business owners, and Seattle police. And for many business owners there, the hope is that this marks a return to normalcy. King 5 Sebastian Robertson.
Let me just say this, for those of you who don't know, the area has been cleared out. They cleared out all these jagaloons and all these undesirables. They're all out. But that doesn't mean that they went home and went away, because most of them probably don't have homes to go to. And they're just looming, you know. They're like, I always like to say this, they're like buzzards, you know. They're like, you know, when you're in the jungle, you have the buzzards that feed on the dead carcasses. That's what these people are like. They're just waiting for another opportunity to come back in and set up shop. So the police now have to babysit that area with a contingent of police, just trying to keep that ground from them retaking it back over. So a lot of the police resources are just being used to secure that zone so they don't retake it back over. So it's just a really bad situation, and I think they may need to get some outside help. I'm not sure if the state police there is strong, like how much resources they have in the state, or if they have to go to the National Guard. We shall see.
Joining us now with the latest, live from the CHOP zones.
Well, the return to normal won't happen immediately. This is proving to be a slow process that may take a few days. I want to show you just how many police officers are in the area that was once known as the CHOP. Police displacing the presence of protesters. And you know, since the very beginning, business owners and residents have told me that they feel they've been caught in the middle. CHOP has fallen. A half a dozen city blocks occupied by protesters for more than 3 weeks is now in the hands of Seattle police. Taken by force early Wednesday morning.
I don't think anyone's won anything out of this. I think we've actually lost. I think we lost a mayor, we've lost a city council person, we've lost residents, we've lost small businesses, we've lost the Black Lives Matter movement. Thank you very much.
Business owner Faisal Khan never closed, but did see his neighbors board up, some even shut down. The situation escalating when a second man, a teenager, was shot and killed, another wounded.
The loss of life for children, it's the worst part of it.
Just this afternoon in a press conference, the mayor said CHOP could not go on any longer.
The deteriorating conditions and repeated gun violence required us to immediately address public safety concerns.
Conditions that
So I got a question for this mayor. My question is, if there was no gun violence and there was rape, robbery, burglaries, defacing of property, public lewdness, sexual acts in public, that would have been okay? You would have left that alone? So it took 2, possibly 3 people. There's another young man that's in ICU, still in the hospital. So this mayor, only because 2 people lost their lives, she decided to move in and break it up. Had those 2 shootings not occurred, the stack of 61 police reports, that was okay. The store owners, the residents, the people who live in that 6-block area, plus all the surrounding areas, because don't forget, they occupied 6 city blocks. They totally took over 6 city blocks. But what about the surrounding blocks? Do you think it was pleasant to live the next block over from that 6 city block, or 2 blocks over, or 3 blocks over? Do you think that those shitbags didn't just mosey on out into the nicer little areas where there's no more urine and feces, and maybe do their business in other people's nice blocks 2-3 blocks away? So you could potentially be looking at 10-15 blocks of shit. And she was going to let that go. Look at this. Look at these tents. These people are living on the sidewalk and in the streets. 30 days of that. 30 days. And she's now on national television saying, we had to go in there. Well, why? Because 2 people died? If 2 people didn't die, you would have let that go? How long would that have gone on? It was already a month. I don't know, guys. Tell me if I'm wrong. Tell me if I'm off base with this. But I don't think I'm off base.
Residents have been documenting from day one. Many of the residents in the situation escalating when a second man, a teenager, was shot and killed, another wounded.
The loss of life for children, it's the worst part of it.
Just this afternoon in a press conference, the mayor said CHOP could not go on any longer.
The deteriorating conditions and repeated gun violence required us to immediately address public safety concerns.
Conditions that residents have been documenting from day one. Many of the residents and business owners over the past 3 weeks only agreeing to speak with me on the condition of anonymity for fear of retribution.
It seems like we're supposed to sacrifice our peace of mind, our safety for this movement, and I don't think that's fair to ask of us.
For now, with hundreds of police in the area, that threat of violence seems to be over. Though the area is still not open to the public, it remains occupied, but this time under new leadership. The focus remains on the East Precinct, both officers on the ground and the chief saying today that it will once again be occupied by Seattle police and will go operational. When is really the next question. In Seattle, Sebastian Robertson, King 5 News.
Sebastian, thank you. Yeah, we're all waiting for that answer. Meanwhile, in all, more than 36 people were arrested as Seattle police moved protesters out of the CHOP this morning. Police say the arrests were made for failure to disperse, obstruction, resisting arrest, and assault. One man arrested had these weapons on him, a large metal pipe and a kitchen knife. Meanwhile, coming up at 5:30, King 5 was there behind those police lines right next to officers as they moved protesters out of the CHOP and went back inside the East Precinct for the first time in weeks.
We've heard from police, we've heard from activists, and now we're going to hear from a voice that has been with the CHOP from the beginning. Our Vanessa Mashania had a one-on-one conversation about where the movement for equality goes now in Seattle.
This is going to be funny.
Vanessa.
Listen to this.
Greg, good evening. She goes by the name of Jay, and she's been a strong voice in the current movement going on in Seattle right now, even before the creation of CHOP. And she says the protesters, they are not happy with the city. They are not happy with Mayor Durkin. They don't feel like they're being heard. And even though the physical occupation of Capitol Hill is no longer here, the fight is not over. What is your opinion on what happened, the police response to CHOP this morning?
All of that behavior speaks to the character of Jenny Durkin. It speaks to the character of our governing bodies. It speaks to exactly why you have individuals making their way out of their homes and into the streets to demonstrate and exercise their First Amendment right. If she's interested in things changing realistically and not just going back to business as usual, because that will never happen, it's going to require her implementing her senses, stepping up, and doing the work in a real way.
I saw on Twitter this morning.
So she's saying that nothing will ever go back to the way it was. Really? This gets even more comical as this goes along. I'll let you listen to this.
From you that you said that, CHOP was never the goal, and it's important to keep that in mind. Can you elaborate on that?
It was never the goal for us to establish Capitol Hill as an area that we could occupy for an extended period of time. It's a symptom.
What you did.
And I think that CHOP genuinely can become, or had become in a way, a distraction from the actual demands that have been given to Jenny Durkin and other governing bodies. It was a distraction from the reality that brought us out. What has been going on in the Black community historically is unbelievable. It's devastating. It's traumatizing in so many ways. But we're a resilient people, and we're also brilliant people. And I think areas like CHOP are an example, not just for us, but for any place across the country that is rising up during this time and choosing to be active, choosing to advocating for the validity of Black lives.
Where can we physically look to the movement next? Are we going to be seeing it around Seattle? Is there going to be more marches?
So does advocating for Black lives include killing 2 people in a 28-day period? Robbing, raping, stealing their very own people? That's the question that reporter should have asked her. Is this what your movement is about? Violence amongst yourselves? Defacing innocent people's property? Probably Black store owners in that area as well have had their businesses desecrated by these savages, and you're going to make demands? Get the fuck out of here. Sorry for the language, guys.
What are we going to see?
For Black people, this movement has been going on for a long time. For some of us, this is just our life story. And for white people who have recently entered the chat, as you might say, now is the time to start allocating your resources, utilizing your white privilege in a way that benefits Black realities. And this is so far from the end.
Jay tells me that until their demands are met, defunding the police, reallocating those funds to be put back into the community, and releasing the protesters, that we can expect to see protesters demonstrate in the streets. And I had a much longer conversation with Jay than you saw in that story, and I'm going to post the entire interview in its entirety if you're interested in seeing that to my Facebook.
I would rather have someone stick a sharp needle in my eye than watch that interview. No thanks, lady. With all due respect. No, thank you. Anyways, all right. So hi guys. So thank you to everyone who's commenting in chat. I agree with a lot of the sentiment in the chat. I'm on board with you guys. I just can't answer everyone's. I can't answer everyone directly, otherwise it throws off my whole train of thought. So let me cue up my good friend, my good friend's video. This is a guy who I'm going to have on with me, Sean Reynolds. He's going to come on with me. His YouTube channel, I'll link it down below. It's Summit Properties Northwest. Summit Properties Northwest. He had a small YouTube channel, and now it's blown up. He's got over 1 million views in the last 28 days. He's done about 7 videos on the ground inside CHOP. So this was before Chaz was dismantled, and he was not a live streamer by any means. He did do podcasts, and he still does podcasts. He's a real estate guy, you know, and he's not a live streamer. So some of his footage and some of his stuff is kind of like amateurish, only because he didn't know in the beginning what he was doing. Now he's got a professional, you know, camera, professional gear. He's got stuff that he's used to doing in a studio, but not pretty much going outside. But he quickly caught on. So I'm going to show you a little bit of the stuff behind the scenes that he did here, and then I'll wrap it up. So I'll only show you about 10 minutes of that, because I'm going to have him on a live with a Zoom. We're going to do a Zoom video meeting, hopefully this weekend, maybe Sunday. And he's going to tell you guys how scary it was to be in there, you know, as a 51-year-old white male with a bunch of cameras and a backpack on. And he got stopped a few times and questioned by these jagaloons, the security guys. He was in there at 5 in the morning, and they were like, "What are you doing here? What's your name? Where are you coming from?" It was like he got stopped by the police, but a little bit different. All right, let me pull up his channel, and we'll play. Yeah, definitely. I'll link his channel in the description. You guys should all subscribe to him. This is his YouTube channel, Summit Properties Northwest. And here's a 32-minute hold on.
Stop.
This is live from his channel.
And unlike everybody else here, I'm okay with the police being here.
You're going to get a good look at what they did to this park.
I am not going to be looking at many comments. I'm sorry, but I'm moving backwards and I can't see. Here is.
This is a live stream that he did. He got like over 100,000 views on it.
We've got.
The recording says move northbound or you will be arrested. This is the day they took over.
We got 60 police between here and here, and they are just marching through. And I got a feeling they're just going to march right on through the camp. Here we've got the activist dude with the microphone. Yeah, we're going to do that. All right, let me go over here.
So these police are marching towards him right now, clearing everything out. Guy in the microphone saying, "We're winning already. We made history."
Don't let your action make y'all get harmed. Don't get hurt on this one. We won. We don't won.
So they're going to go ahead.
That's the
police are going ahead.
I guess.
Clearing out the garbage so the vehicles can get through.
Thank you, Will. I appreciate that. Thank you.
This is wild. So we've got 3
right, so look at this. This is an apartment complex right here. So this building right here in front of us, I know you guys can't see my mouse pointing, but what you're looking at, that corner building, that's a residential building. That's a residential building, guys. People live there. That's not even a business. They might be commercial on the first floor, but these are, you could see there's a terrace with chairs on it. People live there. And they had these jagaloons for 30 days right across in that park. Shooting, gunshots, drugs, you name it. It was all there. And these people had to put up with it because the mayor and the governor allowed it to happen.
You took a month to take we win it.
This is a recording from, I believe, the 29th.
We regroup at Westlake.
Northwest. So it's just me on this street with a couple of other people. And this is a rather ominous looking group here. I don't know if you guys can tell, but that's kind of brutal. I'm going to go ahead.
Here's all the tents set up in this park.
So I'm going to stand up on top of this hill. Here are the garden areas. You've got like 5 garden areas. No? Don't agree.
It's a little green.
Okay, there's a group
live
of
stream is
policemen on bicycles. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. There's 20, group of 20 police there. Okay. We're going back up.
Emergency declaration. It is illegal to be in Cal Anderson Park. You need to leave now, northbound. Do it now. Everybody out! Sergeant Stone of the Seattle Police Department, you must disperse
That wouldn't fit the narrative,
Cal Anderson Park.
Will. That wouldn't fit the narrative. That area has always been subject to protests and stuff like that. So I don't think it is a yuppie area. They said that there's a lot of protests that go on in this area on a regular basis.
So this guy is one of the more responsible activists, if there is such a thing.
Love this guy, Sean. Everybody subscribe to his channel.
No,
I'll link it below.
Don't agree. But he's at least trying to get people out.
Sergeant Stone of the Seattle Police Department, I'm issuing you a public order to disperse. This is in accordance with Mayor Durkin's emergency declaration. It is illegal to be in Cal Anderson Park and the area surrounding it. You must leave Cal Anderson Park northbound. Failure to do so will result in your arrest. Thank you for your cooperation.
It was a big job for them, Quinny. It was not easy, that's for sure.
We've got at least 2 news helicopters going around. So I think we're going to be at this for a while. Look at these guys. They are loaded to the gill. We are not messing around. All right, so
thank you.
See what's going on over here.
For becoming a channel member.
Okay.
Thank you so much for that.
That's the shoot up center. Actually, that's the shoot up center over there. And that is, I think, the community kitchen. I'd be surprised if there's many people in tents here. I think everybody's pretty much gone.
So the police are just walking through the park, clearing it out.
Y'all doing great. It sounds like you're scared of them. I'm telling you, this one, go.
Thank you. Send me a message privately. I may know him. He may know me.
Okay, so I'm kind of just paying attention to what's going on because this is not a safe scenario. So what we've got is we've got a handful of tents kind of on the perimeter, just a few tents left, and they're going to be able to just kind of march right on through. Holy smokes, so we've got 20, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9.
I give this guy Sean a lot of credit. The cops are walking right at him, and he was just there like a trooper, man. I mean, and he wasn't even armed. He was just there. I asked him. I had a conversation with him on the phone. He was like, "No, DutyRon, I was just
I am
there."
guessing right now we have 70 police officers on this line, total guess. I counted 50. I can't really count over here, but somewhere around 70 we've got a group.
So now they just cleared the park. They're at the end of the park here. I fast forwarded. So now the park is clear now, and this is the perimeter. This is one end of it. I gotta say, they didn't meet a lot of resistance, and that's why I think that the payoff really, I think the payoff might be true, but I haven't been able to confirm it. Hi, Soul for Music. Good to see you.
I got all my stuff.
So again, this was live footage inside the clear out day inside the park. He spent, this is almost a 2-hour live stream. So Sean spent all day there.
You know, the garbage in the street over here. Just
There's
nonsense.
the apartment complex I was telling you about. He's got no fear.
Job well
man.
done, guys. Thank you. Yep.
He's thanking the police.
I survived Choppa getting mowed over by a car. That would suck.
So I'm going to have him on as a guest.
All right.
It should
now
be a
we've
really
got motorcycle
awesome live.
police on the scene. Seattle needs to go red.
Yeah, it just doesn't make sense to graffiti up everything. But now he's walking
Let's see
in
if
the
I can get
surrounding
down
areas.
here.
As you can see, the houses are boarded up. Some of these homes have their windows boarded up.
Heavy police presence here. This is a big wide street, so they are not letting anybody through this street. Beyond here, is there cool stuff ever happening in Chop? No, it's just all kind of bad. But I make the mayor clean the street. No kidding.
Look at this.
Let's just go take a look.
Look at the damage that these people have done. Yeah, he's an awesome guy.
Yeah.
I recommend everyone subscribe.
They're just
to his
hanging
channel.
out. Yep. So they're just hanging out under the trees because it's raining.
I mean,
as
this
it
is
typically
millions
does.
of
So
dollars
here's
worth
some of the.
damage.
Yeah, if you saw my last live
Just the
feed,
graffiti alone.
little Rage Against the Machine. Okay, I'm underneath the tree. I'm gonna go ahead and clean off the lens. I've got a Moment lens on my camera. It's a wide angle lens on my. Sorry. Oh.
I'm going to link it below. It's Northwest Properties.
Camera down.
I think it's some. I'll link it below.
Okay, is that better? Yeah, make the mayor clean the street. No kidding. It's a mess. Okay, some standard graffiti.
Yeah, I mean he's a real estate guy in that area. He wanted to document was going on in there. And I think he did a great job. And I think he has a pair of brass balls. Because he could have really got hurt or killed.
All right, I am walking
Watch what he shows us
southbound
here.
on Broadway again.
He
I'm going
shows
to get
us
as
something
close as
really
I
cool
can
here.
to the action. That's a local resident that I just passed. She's been going around thanking the cops. And what I'm doing is, oh, there's heavy police presence here at East Pine Street. So this is the next major east-west street going into the CHOP. So maybe I'll be able to show you guys some cool stuff happening here. I don't know. Is there cool stuff ever happening in CHOP? No, it's just all kind of bad. But what I am going to do, I'm going to spend a little bit of time visiting with Jimi Hendrix, James Marshall Hendrix, Seattle.
Awesome.
Went to Garfield High School. And this is one of the 3 major things here in Seattle commemorating Jimi. This is the actual
Look
guitar.
at that. I've never seen that.
From the Electric Lady Studio.
I didn't even know it was there.
Pretty cool. If you can read that. The Electric Lady Studio guitar. But every time I'm down here, I come by and see Jimi. And you can see some of the blue paint. See the blue? Somebody came by and graffitied Jimi.
Are you shitting me?
That is heresy. It's terrible.
They graffitied.
Awful.
That's how much of
That's a cool
scumbags
statue.
these people are.
I've got a video on YouTube that does a bunch of the Jimi Hendrix stuff. Whoop, just about crashed. Let's see what's going on here. Now we've got somewhere around 20 police officers here.
Yeah, I want to get over there. See that. See. One of these years, I'll get over there. So you get the idea. I'm gonna.
Your country! If you're not trespassing your country, your kids are gonna be killed!
Waiting to get it back.
Not right now. It's gonna have to go through evidence and pick up at Casey Street.
Oh, okay.
I think that's where the thing is.
That's frustrating.
I picked up a phone from the night. So it's definitely
Yeah, Khalid. I thought the same
Right.
thing.
In the park, you mean?
What?
In the
All
park.
right, let's take a peek at one more of his videos. I want to show you the one where he goes into. Here's his channel. If you guys want to follow him, it's Summit Properties Northwest. SUMMIT Properties NW. So that's it right there. But I'll link it down below. I'll link his channel down below. This is one of his first ones that he did. This is while they were still here. This is while it was still going on. You could get to see them all in their comfortable zone.
We don't know shit! We got it! We've been playing with us for 400 years and we don't know shit! Voluntarily! We make history right now! We are home! We're literally taking your home right now as a race. We're taking it.
We're not leaving until our demands are met. Doesn't seem that active, does it?
So he has music playing on his thing. I'm not gonna.
Good.
Yeah, Chop Security.
How are you?
Look at this here.
All right.
This is where you get stopped.
Tipped off too, because all of these. How are you?
Listen to this.
All right, how are y'all?
Good.
So, what brings y'all here?
Doing a little live stream.
So, doing a live stream at
Chop.
13 in the morning?
Yeah.
He said at 5 in the morning.
Just seeing what's going on.
For a reason y'all are here at 5:13 in the morning?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah?
What's that?
Two guys on a bike following.
Here at 5:13 in the morning?
Just seeing what's going on.
For a reason y'all are here at 5:13 in the morning?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah?
What's that?
There's a particular reason y'all are here at 5:13 in the morning?
Just hanging out, taking some footage.
Look at these guys. And he was with, Sean wasn't alone. He was with, I think, his son and his son's girlfriend. She's standing back here in the background. I don't know if you could see her on this, but she's right here. This is the security team asking them what they're doing here.
Alright. Is there a particular reason that y'all chose 5:13 in the morning?
It's just we decided to come down at 5.
Questioning why he's there.
Are y'all with like a particular group or organization?
No.
Alright, what's your name?
I'm Sean.
What's your name?
Yep.
Yeah, well, where do y'all think of this place?
Well, we've been down here a couple of times. Yeah. Looks like it's been kind of taken down. Not a lot going on anymore.
I was actually worried for his safety when I heard this, and I watched this.
All right, we're going to keep going.
All right.
Look, and they walk with them, like they're following them.
Looks like we have the Department of Transportation coming in. They're going to be taking down some barricades.
I don't know why you put music in it, but
Okay, I got 75% battery, and I've got an external battery pack.
Yeah, you should be fine.
it was very dangerous to be there, that's for sure.
Police precinct is right up over here. Department.
All right, so let me get. Okay, so now you guys can see me. I'll let that play in the background. I'm just going to shut it down because of the music. Again, so he was there. I believe it was his son or one of his employees and his girlfriend. I'm not sure if that was the son's girlfriend or if it was the employee's girlfriend, but nonetheless, him and whoever were there were definitely in danger. That was 5:30 in the morning. Those security people, whatever you want to call them, stopped them and started asking them questions. What are you doing here? You know, what are you doing here? What's your name? You know, you come out here at 5 o'clock in the morning? It's crazy. Anyways.
Looks like we're on the move.
Yeah, these people try to negotiate with the Department of Transportation to get them to stop taking down the barricades and stuff.
So it looks like we have ongoing negotiations here.
It's comical. This is comical too, but I don't have enough time. I'm already over an hour long on this, but you get the idea. I mean, Sean is a great guy. I'm going to have him on. He's going to tell you guys about some of the ins and outs of what happened to him while he was down there. And as you could see, I mean, he's done so many videos here. I mean, here, this is a whole conversation.
We're going to come back in a little bit of time and talk to folks again. I don't...
So, you know, there's a whole, I mean, I encourage you guys to subscribe to him and look at all this stuff. There's hours There's hours worth of stuff for you to watch. I'm gonna cut that off. But I mean, this guy is, in my eyes, he's a brave mofo, because I wouldn't have gone in there without my Glock and a bulletproof vest. That's for sure. So let me just say hello to everybody. If you're not subscribed to the channel and you're new here, please subscribe to DutyRon, retired New York City police detective with 20 plus years in law enforcement. Please consider subscribing to the channel. Sean is a business owner. He has his own real estate company. He does appraisals. He's a successful business owner. This is just something that he did as a side project, and somebody that he was, something that he felt passionate about, and he wanted to show the world what actually CNN and all the regular news feeds and the news outlets were not showing the public. And he says it in his live streams. If you subscribe to him and watch his videos, he in the beginning says, I'm doing this because when I turn my TV on, they're not covering this. So he went in because he was pissed that their local news was not covering it. So he's like, screw this. I'm getting a camera. I'm going out there and I'm going to do it. I told him on the phone, I had a long conversation with him. I told him that it was dangerous and I was worried for his safety while I was watching some of the replays. And I actually watched him live twice. I watched him live twice. I gave him super chats. When I was watching him those 2 times, I was like, dude, be careful. This is scary just to watch it. I mean, you shouldn't be going into zones like this because these are not common sense people. You know, if you want to cover a protest, do it at your own risk because it is dangerous. It's very dangerous. But we'll talk to Sean on a Zoom video meeting, and we'll get his insight to some of this coverage that he has done. And it's just unbelievable, the footage and all the stuff that he got. I mean, the ridiculous demands that these people were making.
When everyone is tired and phones are dead, and act like that's a good faith gesture, and talk to us about those ideas and say, oh, we couldn't possibly know what those ideas are worth. You know those ideas. You can defund the SPD by 50%. You can meet our demands.
About defunding the police.
For Black Community Wellness Day, whatever you're calling it, right?
This guy is trying to talk to her about defunding the police, and all she's doing is shaking her head like agreeing with him. I gotta let you hear this.
In this city for 8 years. Me and my friends have been in city council telling you these ideas. Please don't pretend like you don't know these ideas, like we haven't been telling them to you, and then roll up at 5:30 in the morning when everyone is tired and phones are dead, and act like that's a good faith gesture, and talk to us about those ideas.
He said you roll up at 5:30 in the morning. Everyone's tired. Why? Because they're up all night doing drugs. I mean, come on. Ugh. Take care, Quinny. Thanks for stopping in. I'm wrapping it up now, too. This is one of my longest lives that I've done in a long time. Glara, Joey Brooklyn, Meglo, all my channel members, all the Patreon supporters, and all the great people that came in on this partial live. I hope you enjoyed it. We covered a lot. And this is weak politicians. This is weak policing and weak politicians. The governor, the mayor, the police commissioner, the city council, everybody from the whole state of Washington failed. The taxpayers, the residents, the people who have businesses, they all have a lawsuit against the city, and they have a legitimate lawsuit. So guys, a lot of love and respect from my house to yours. Hit that subscribe button, share my videos, watch the videos, let the ads run. Thank you for stopping in. Follow me on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter, all one word, DutyRon, and check out my YouTube video share group. Love and respect. Crystal, I'll talk to you soon. Sleeping Beauty, Frog, Push Eye on Weather, Toyeri, I am tired of listening to this hogwash bullshit. These people they need to take their energies and put them somewhere else. Go get a job. Go work somewhere instead of asking for a handout. This kid went on to ask for a handout. And she just shook her head. She just shook her head and was like, okay. Here, let me coddle you a little bit more. Do you want a binky for your mouth? You want a binky? Here, I'll warm up some milk for you and we can continue this conversation. Get the fuck out of here. I got no patience for that shit.